Futurama was one of the best cartoons on TV, and it seems like every moment of every episode is pure gold. And while they might not go as far with the shock value as shows like Family Guy, you'd be surprised by how many Futurama deleted scenes never made it to TV, for one reason or the other. In the 9th episode of Futurama's first season, Bender has a brush with death and becomes dedicated to his newfound religion, robotology. And because he's the Bender that we know and love, he becomes a fanatic in no time flat. But we all know he can't control himself, so it's not long before he goes off the rails. When he winds up in robot hell, it's up to Fry and Leela to go down there themselves and bring him back. Luckily, they manage to save Bender, and the trio take off to escape. In this deleted scene, Leela asks if Bender could try to be just a little less evil, to which he replies, "When robot hell freezes over." But then, according to Fry, it actually does, from November to March. Whales are majestic and amazing creatures who deserve to be protected at all costs, who, despite what Moby Dick might have said, have absolutely no interest in human beings whatsoever. But that's not the case when it comes to Earth in the year 3000, where just about anything goes. In the episode When Aliens Attack, the crew of the Planet Express heads to Monument Beach for Labor Day weekend. In a deleted scene, the professor actually explains that Monument Beach isn't at a real ocean, because when humans stopped hunting whales, their numbers rapidly increased, and they actually developed the desire for human flesh. In the Season 2 episode, I Second That Emotion, the gang winds up in the sewers after Bender flushes Nibbler down the toilet in a fit of jealousy. Of course, Leela is distraught, and they go underground to try and retrieve the little guy. While down there, they come into contact with a group of sewer mutants, who warn them about a monster named El Chupa Nibre. In an awesome little deleted scene, Bender comes face to face with El Chupa Nibre, and lets out a scream so loud that the professor, who's having a bath above ground, can hear it, but he just turns off his hearing aid and ignores it altogether. During the episode Xmas Story, the Planet Express crew has taken an employee ski trip to Catskills Lodge for a fun little winter getaway. But it turns out not all of them are particularly great skiers, especially Amy. Amy is known for a lot of things, but as we find out, winter sports are not one of her strong suits. In a deleted scene, we see Amy making a mess of things by crashing into Bender, Leela, and Fry on the ski hill. Bender doesn't take lightly to being bowled over and threatens that Amy will meet his lawyer, but in true Amy fashion, she replies that she has not only met him, but, well, met him, if you know what we mean. The episode Why Must I Be a Crustacean in Love takes place during the height of Zoidberg's species, the Decapodians, mating season, which is a time that we never really needed to experience, to be honest. The episode goes into a whole bunch of detail about the specifics of this turbulent time, none of which we are going to mention here. But he wasn't the only one with mating on his mind, as in a deleted scene, Bender mentions that he doesn't like that humans use DNA to reproduce. Leela and Fry ask if that's true, why is Bender still into adult entertainment featuring humans? Bender replies that it's not about the people, it's the perverseness that he enjoys. In the episode A Bicyclops Built for Two, Leela finally meets another Cyclops online, or so she thinks. But while he turns out to be a dud, Leela is still determined to continue her species, and so she agrees to marry him. Over the course of the episode, it becomes clear that he is really not the right guy for Leela, or anyone for that matter. But at the wedding, he shows his true colors in a deleted scene. Leela is distressed when he walks in on her in her wedding dress, and adding insult to injury, he picks this as the exact wrong moment to comment on how hot Amy is, which happens to be the moment right before they are about to say "I do." In the episode A Clone of My Own, Professor Farnsworth is led to believe that he is being brought up on disciplinary charges at Mars University. But in reality, it turns out that they have actually planned a surprise birthday party to celebrate his 150th year. In a great gag that was unfortunately deleted, when the crew arrives at the university in the Planet Express ship, we hear Fry tell Leela that she can't park in a spot because it's reserved. So she moves to the right and promptly crushes another car. We never do learn if there was anyone inside, but maybe in the long run, that's for the better. For us, at least. Not for whoever was in that car. In the 16th episode of Season 2, the Planet Express crew finds themselves parked in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean trying to catch fish, after Nibbler has mistakenly been issued a mandatory fishing license. The gang takes the opportunity to try out old-fashioned fishing rods, laser guns, and harpoons, among other ways to catch fish. In a deleted scene, while the rest of the crew try out different fishing methods, Professor Farnsworth falls asleep on a patio chair and can be heard muttering in his sleep about Zombie Jesus. It's not the only time the name Zombie Jesus will come up over the course of the show's run, even though we'd never see the man himself. In the beginning of the Season 3 premiere episode, The Honking, the gang escorts Bender to the city of Thermostat in the Robo-Hungarian Empire, after his uncle Vladimir has died and left Bender his castle. In a deleted scene from the reading of his uncle's will, we meet his uncle's robot butler named You There. When You There finds out how little he has been left in the will, he seems resentful after he had to buff his master's butt. While most of us would imagine that this would be a less than desirable task, the same cannot be said for ol' You There. He quickly exclaims about just how much he loved to buff that master's butt after all. Just when we think we know Fry, this deleted scene came along and made us rethink everything. While we think he's generally a pretty simple guy, it turns out that the way his mind works is surprisingly complex. Fry and Leela are walking and see a clown whose pants fall down. Fry laughs really hard, and when Leela comments that the clown isn't really that funny, Fry explains what he was really laughing about. He points out that the clown actually has a career because a businessman next to him is laughing only to support him, but that the man's wife seems to be interested in the clown, who is apparently gay. How Fry knows all of that, we will never claim to understand. In the Season 3 episode, A Tale of Two Santas, the crew all decide that the best thing to do this year is try and take down the terrifying robot Santa and help return Xmas to what it was back in Fry's time. They learned the year before just how mean this robot Santa can be, and when they track him down, things get even crazier. After run-ins with the Neptunians and Santa himself, and after they realize just how unjolly his workshop truly is, they finally get Santa trapped in a sheet of ice, immobilizing him. But in a deleted scene, however, Santa has time to make a crude joke before he becomes fully engulfed in the frozen water. But that's not all that was taken out of this jam-packed episode. Once Santa has been taken out of the picture, none other than Bender agrees to take over the job, because no human could do it. Of course, things go awry, and Bender has a really hard go of it bringing gifts and spreading Christmas cheer. At first, he really does try to deliver the Christmas spirit, but it all proves just a little too much for his limited good nature. Eventually, he is mistaken for the real Santa and put on trial for his crimes. In a deleted scene, we would have seen the Hyper Chicken actually getting Bender to confess to crimes that he didn't commit. In the episode The Bird Bot of Icecatraz, we find the Planet Express crew divided, as Leela refuses to captain the ship during a controversial mission that Professor Farnsworth has signed them up for. And after a series of events, Bender takes on the personality of a penguin, because of course he does. In the meantime, there is a deleted scene that shows Fry and Zoidberg playing a video game together. Funnily enough, or maybe not, seeing as it was cut, Fry is playing the lobster character, and Zoidberg is playing the human. While some scenes are too edgy or too much for TV, we don't have a hard time understanding why this joke might have been pulled for time. We rarely see Bender expressing emotions other than his usual combination of recklessness, disdain, and a desire to create havoc, which is why seeing him fall in love in the episode Bendless Love was so surprising. He becomes hung up on a fembot named Angeline, who he then believes is cheating on him with her ex-husband Flexo. Their relationship is a brief and intense tangled web of confusion, which sadly doesn't work out for the two of them in the end. Poor Bender. Though he seems to recover quickly enough, but in a scene that was deleted from the final version, we see Bender asking Angeline if she dumped him because of his bad breath. Angeline replies that he doesn't have any breath, of course. In the episode The Day the Earth Stood Stupid, a gang of brains are flying around the universe, draining the intelligence from every living creature they come across. You know, as gangs of brains tend to do. As it turns out, Fry is the only one who can defeat them because of his lack of delta brainwaves, which the professor explains in great detail during the episode. But this isn't discovered until after the brains have wreaked some havoc on the inhabitants of Earth, as is seen in an awesome deleted scene of news anchors Morbo and Linda having a back and forth about how weird the letter T is. Any scene with Morbo and Linda deserves a shout out, as they are the best news team in the galaxy. While originally it was strange that Leela was a cyclops, when she underwent plastic surgery to get a second eye in the episode The Cyber House Rules, it was somehow even more off-putting. Not only that, but she gets the surgery from a man who she once had a crush on while they were in an orphanage together as kids. Upsettingly for Fry, Leela finds a common ground with her childhood crush, even though we can tell that he's no longer the guy she should be with. Eventually, they decide to adopt kids together, not knowing that Bender has adopted them all in order to collect money from the government. In a deleted scene, they are told there are no more children left to adopt. We all know that Fry isn't necessarily the sharpest tool in the shed, but when he actually comes to believe that he is a robot in the episode Insane in the Mainframe, we see just how easily he can be led astray. All this happens after Bender and Fry are mistakenly committed into an institution after being arrested for trying to rob a bank. But in a deleted scene, Amy asks Professor Farnsworth how it'll be possible to make Fry believe he's human again. The professor replies that first they have to brainwash him to believe he is a hippopotamus, and then brainwash him again to get back to human, because hippos are easier to brainwash, naturally. Fry and Leela's will they won't they romantic situation was finally explored in the episode Time Keeps on Slippin', in which Professor Farnsworth accidentally manages to mess around with time enough so that it starts skipping back and forth on Earth. As time hops around to different pasts and futures, we see Fry desperately try and convince Leela that he is the right man for her, even though she is still hesitant. It even jumps around to a timeline in which Fry and Leela have just gotten married. In a deleted scene, Bender has some doubts about why Leela agreed to marry Fry, and after ruling out drugs and hypnosis, he finally asks if it's because she's pregnant. In another emotional scene from the same episode, Leela is talking to Zoidberg about her feelings for Fry. While she seems to have feelings for him that are more than just friendship, she thinks he is still too immature and not capable of giving her what she needs. She might not be wrong about the immaturity, but for those of us watching at home, this was not the answer we wanted from Leela about their situation. In a chunk of the scene that was deleted from broadcast, Zoidberg asks Leela if she loves Fry. Without any hesitation, she says no. In a very Zoidberg move, he turns on the TV, leaving Leela alone with her thoughts. The Roswell alien sighting is a long-debated topic of discussion here on Earth, but really it shouldn't be, as Futurama answered the question in the episode Roswell That Ends Well. When they travel back to Roswell, New Mexico in the year 1947, the Planet Express crew actually became the famed spacecraft sighting when they crashed into Earth, causing Bender's body to break into pieces, and then be collected by the citizens living there at the time. In a deleted scene of Fry sneaking into Roswell with Bender's head, a guard asks him what it is, to which Fry replies that it is a communist detector. He then uses it on the guard, which in 1947 causes quite the panic. Even though she is the head of an evil corporation masquerading around as a sweet and lovable mother figure, we can't help but love Mom. From her unfortunate relationship with her sons to her scheming ways and amazing rivalry with Professor Farnsworth, we can't get enough of her. All of her insults are gold, which is why we're sad that the creators of Futurama deleted this scene from the episode Future Stock. When Mom gets tangled up with the Planet Express crew and a guy named, well, that guy, she tells her sons that when she gets done with them, the only magazine they'll appear in is Mangled Remains Monthly. Who would even subscribe to that magazine, let alone publish it? As much as we love seeing the Planet Express crew going on insane adventures, some of the funniest moments come from seeing them just hopping around the ship together. The dynamics between all of the different inhabitants of the ship are what make the show as amazing as it is, if you really think about it. Like this one deleted scene from the episode Kif Gets Knocked Up a Notch. Before all the drama about Kif becoming pregnant, we see Fry and Bender playing hangman on a chalkboard, but they are actually playing binary hangman, which Fry wins right away, because once he's guessed 0, there's really only one other option, which is 1. The only other option is 1. In the same episode, another awesome scene was taken out before the final broadcast, but this time it centers around the pregnant Kif and Zap Brannigan. And yes, you heard us right. We said the pregnant Kif. When the crew visits the birthing grounds on Kif's planet, in order for him to have the baby, they meet with someone called the Grand Midwife. After giving a lengthy description of the birthing ritual that will take place, the Grand Midwife turns to Zap, touches his belly and asks how far along he is. Zap gestures to Kif, who is the one who is actually with child. Now that's a mistake you never want to make. Fry would do just about anything for Leela, which he proves in the episode The Sting. In an effort to save Leela, Fry gets lethally stung by a queen bee and dies. Leela is obviously racked with guilt and sadness over his heroic death, but it turns out that Fry's DNA was preserved in some royal jelly, and he is brought back to life. Of course, the entire thing turns out to be an insane dream of Leela's, but she doesn't know that yet, and is just thrilled to have Fry back. In a deleted scene, Fry asks Leela why he is so sticky, and if it's because he fell asleep on the floor of a movie theater again. In the episode Obsoletely Fabulous, Bender finds himself obsolete after the unveiling of a new robot 1X, and when he refuses to get a mind-altering upgrade, he runs away to an island of other obsolete robots who live outside of society. After becoming something of a radical, Bender and the others decide to go to New York to cause mayhem. Their decided mode of transport is a wooden submarine because, oh yeah, we forgot to mention that Bender also gets a downgrade and is revealed to be made entirely of wood. In a deleted scene, Bender suggests that, instead of calling their mission a war against technology, they should call it a rage against the machine, which is an awesome, if unintentional, shout out to the band. Futurama remains one of the best cartoons ever made. Even all these moments that didn't make it to the air are hilarious. What did you think of these deleted scenes? Are there any others you can think of that are even more epic? Let us know down below, and we hope you had fun watching.